see. Did you guys get a recording in progress
Yes.
notification?
Yes.
Good. So we are recording, which is always, you never know if that's going to actually work like it didn't work a minute ago. All right, guys. Marilyn, thank you so much for joining. Feel free to pop on camera or not. It's up to you, whichever you're more comfortable with. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you showing up on time. I'm gonna give it like maybe one more minute because it's Saturday morning. Sometimes people are running a bit a bit late, and it's a holiday weekend. I got my Easter pastel colors on today. I appreciate you guys joining. I'm sure you have other things to do, so thank you so much for joining. All right, I think did we get everybody back? There's Margaret back. Two Margarets today, Marianne. So another
Here.
M name. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get started. I want to honor your time. If people join us, I'll try to keep an eye out for a notification. Hey, Marianne, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you hopping on today.
Yay. I think I've got a window behind me here that's kind of taking the light. How about that? That's a bit better.
Yes,
Sorry,
yes.
I'm just moving around here with my laptop.
Yeah, no worries. Today I was thinking that we could do some exercises or drills or resets or whatever you want to call it. It's not like super sweaty exercises that you could do at your desk. That was kind of my plan.
Oh, okay.
So if you don't have space on your floor today, that is completely fine. We can go into that because it's going to be a small group if you guys have questions. I know I do a lot of on the floor stuff, so we could definitely go over some of that. I just wanted to keep this pretty accessible to most people. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Like I said, I appreciate you joining, especially on a holiday weekend. Um, do you guys get tightness in your neck? Like maybe right here where your neck and your shoulders meet? Yeah, you ever feel like at the end of the day, your shoulders are way up by your ear? Find it hard to take a super deep breath. Feel like it's hard to get open through your shoulders. I understand how that goes because I have struggled with that for a long time myself. If you guys don't know me, I think I know you guys, but just in case anybody's watching the recording, my name is Cynthia Crescent. I'm a certified personal trainer and I specialize in helping particularly women over 40 increase their mobility and strength, particularly if you have issues with your neck, your back, pelvic floor, all the things, so you can get fit and strong without worrying so much about getting injured. I understand how all this goes because I am a woman over 40, over 50, honestly. And I've dealt with all this kind of stuff. So I wanted to share some things that have worked for me, and hopefully it'll work for you also. So I am the queen of tight neck. I did physical therapy. I don't even know how many thousands of dollars I've spent on chiropractic care. I've got all the things you're supposed to put under your head. I've done the traction where they pull your neck up and back. I did that so much that it actually cracked my tooth. So
Oh,
I have
no.
pressure on my head. I mean, I've done a lot of stuff to try to help this because I get that it is a really big deal and it can cause so many issues. And it's so rampant today. Like, you might ask, why? Why do so many people have this chronic neck tightness? And the answer is because we sit. We have to. I mean, there's no way really these days you can go through the day without sitting a significant amount of time. And what we do, we look at the device as the phone, right? And how do you look at your device? Kind of like that, right? You're looking down. That puts so much pressure on your spine, on your neck, on these muscles. And there's no way to kind of avoid looking at your phone. It's so common, it's got a name. They gave this kind of situation where you're looking at your phone and your head's down. It's got a name now because it's so common. They call it tech neck. It's a catchy name, right? For kind of a bad thing. And a lot of it is kind of habit. We just kind of get in the habit of sitting kind of like that if we're typing or driving or watching TV or whatever we're doing when we're sitting. And this looking at your device is honestly even more of pulling your head forward. So sometimes it's called tech neck. That's the kind of cutesy, you know, um, TikTok worthy name, clickbait. But a lot of times the chiropractors, the professionals call it head forward posture. So if you see it, it's kind of the same thing, and it's where your head is coming too far forward compared to your shoulders, the rest of your body. And that's what we're going to talk about mostly today. I do have some notes because I wanted to be sure not to forget some things. I know there are a lot of things that can cause issues with your neck. I mean, some very serious things with discs and your spine and nerves and stuff like that. That's not really what we're gonna. That's important to get looked at by a doctor, a professional, a medical professional. Today, what we're going to talk about is more of posture related things that we can take control of and help just at home ourselves without specialized equipment, without a lot of worry about getting this right, all that kind of thing. So pretty simple exercises or resets that we're going to go over today. So that's what we're going to talk about. If you do have significant medical issues going on, I know a lot of people do, but make sure that you get checked by your medical professional before you do any exercises, including those that we're going to do today. So let's go ahead and move on here. We talked about how it's super common because everybody has to sit, but there are ways that you can sit or ways that you can look at your device or your phone such that it's not quite such a big deal. And we're going to talk about that today. So, how do you know if your head is too far forward? Well, maybe you've had somebody tell you that, a chiropractor, a physical therapist, somebody has said, you have head forward posture. That would be one way. Another way is to look. You can definitely look yourself. You could look in a mirror. You could take a picture of yourself. You could have somebody take a picture of yourself. You could have somebody else like me look at you, and we can visually get some cues that would tell us that you have this head forward posture, your head too far forward technique, whatever you want to call it. But basically, let's see if I can show you guys. You can do it from standing, you can do it from sitting. It's where you're kind of like this. So you see my ear is here, if you draw a line down, and the center of my shoulder is here. So my ear is ahead of the center of my shoulder. Does that make sense? You guys, it's a pretty, once you know it, you can't unsee it. You can see everybody walking around like, they have the head forward posture. And so do they. And they're like a teen and their head is way forward. You can't unsee it once you kind of know what you're looking for. A lot of times, this head going forward, it's pulling us so much that if we don't do something else, we're going to end up falling, falling forward, falling on our heads because the gravity is just going to pull us. And your body has a reflex that you don't even think about it. Your body just naturally wants to stay upright, and it's going to do what it takes to stay upright. And if your head is pulling you, there's going to be something else that happens to keep you upright. And a lot of times the head going forward is offset by this upper back pulling backwards. So you get this head forward, upper back backwards, where your neck and your back meet, and then you end up with this kind of hump or lump or hunchback thing going on. You guys probably have seen that a little bit where it's a little kind of bump here at the base of the neck. And I had that starting because my posture was so bad. And I still kind of, it's still there if I get lazy and don't do the things I'm supposed to do. So I get that. It's very common. And that goes with some other posture things going on down the line. But in the upper body neck area, you get this going backwards. Another strategy, let me stand up and show you, would be to crank through your low back. So I got my Easter colors on, guys. I'm very festive, right? All right, I'll show you what that looks like. So standing wise, hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Let me know, but if your head goes forward, you're going to end up they're going to end up kind of falling. So your body just has a reflex that says, nope, don't fall over. So you've got offsetting with your upper back going backwards as your head goes forward, or your head goes forward and your body is going to kind of crank up from your low back, kind of like that. So then you end up with a big kink in your low back. So all these things kind of go together. A lot of times when your head goes forward, Let's go ahead and try this. You can do this seated. You put your hand here kind of where your fingers are touching your collarbone, your palms kind of right there at the top of your sternum. Let your head go forward. Do you feel what happens there at the top of your rib cage? You guys feel that? It goes kind of in, right? It kind of collapses as your head goes forward. Did you guys feel that? Hopefully, yes. Yeah. So that's another thing that is common with the head coming too far forward is this upper rib cage, it gets kind of smushed down. It like collapses and you see how that pulls the rib cage down. And then you end up with belly pooch for one. And it just makes everything up in here get super duper pinned down and just really stuck. Like it's super glued down. It's like not gonna move unless you do something about it. But that makes it really hard to breathe. So let's try this where you can put your hand there or not, it's up to you. But go ahead, let your head come forward, feel this go down, and take a deep breath. Also, the shoulders roll or hunch forward. So take a couple deep breaths. See how that feels? Yeah, you guys got that? Okay, so let's make an effort to have some better posture alignment here. You can do it seated, you could do it standing if you wanted to, but either way, think about your feet are flat if you're sitting. Don't have them crossed or kind of, leaning to the side. Find the bones at the bottom of your pelvis, the sit bones there. You feel them? Try to be even on those sit bones, not kind of glancing off the back or tipping forward or heavier on the right. Just try to be even on those bones at the bottom of your pelvis. So far, so good? Okay, think about stacking each vertebrae right on top of each other like blocks till you get to your neck. Even stretch your neck kind of long and then take your eyes just to the horizon. Just even. Think about taking your shoulders. We'll do a couple little rolls here. So up, back, around, and down. And then end with your shoulders kind of back and down. Not super pulling them. They're just kind of down. Now, let's take a big breath here. Inhale through your nose. And then exhale. How does that feel? Does that feel different than the kind of collapsed rib cage? Do you guys feel a difference? And yeah, yeah. So that's part of what I wanted to talk about today. So your body has these reflexes. It's not even something that you think about. Your body will just do it because it's super important that it's one of those where if you touch a hot pan, your hand will automatically jump away. It's like that kind of reflex that it wants to hold you upright. It'll do what it takes to hold you upright. And it'll do what it takes to breathe. You kick on other muscles, whatever it takes. So if it's struggling, like I can't use all the muscles I'm supposed to use here, your body's gonna incorporate like reallocate other muscles to help you to breathe. And a lot of those muscles are your neck. So your neck muscles are trying to keep you from letting your head pull you over. So they're trying to put the brakes on, falling forward. And now they are also helping you breathe. So they're getting really stressed out. They've got a lot of work to do and they're just getting pretty tired. So that's one thing that's happening. So they get, they're working all of the time and it's hard to turn off because they're helping you breathe. And so you got to keep on breathing. So it's always kind of on. So if we can kind of let them not have to do that job, it'll free them up so the tension can kind of finally turn off. So that's the goal for what we're going to talk about today. Just kind of making sure things are better aligned so that the neck muscles are, working constantly and they can kind of turn off and not have that tension. Does that sound okay to you guys? Cool. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about is I know this probably is not what you were thinking, but I want to talk about your tongue. What is going on with your tongue here? And this is again something you can do. You're typing along, you're at work, whatever. Just every so often tune in to what's going on with your tongue. Where is it? Is it at the roof of your mouth? Is it just kind of hovering? Is it kind of pushing to the front of your teeth? So check it out. What's going on with your tongue? For me, that was a big thing because when I was little, I don't people suck their thumb. I was sucking my finger, just I don't know why. And nobody suggested that I not do that, so I did it for a really long time, and that messed up a lot of what was going on in my mouth. Like I got a reverse swallow, my teeth were all messed up. There are a lot of things that can happen that make things going on in your mouth have issues, and so I totally get that, but it's a fundamental thing that can really affect a lot of stuff. So it's pretty easy, pretty simple, pretty accessible to make better. Maybe it doesn't completely go away, but we can definitely make that better. So let's go ahead. It's low hanging fruit, might as well. What you want to do is take the tip of your tongue, like if this is my tongue, the tip, and this is kind of my teeth here. We're going to take the tip of the tongue behind the top teeth and go up till you find a little bumpy spot there right above kind of where your teeth and the roof of your mouth meet. You're gonna put the tip of the tongue there. Then think about the flat part of your tongue goes up as much as it can to spread on the roof of your mouth. Kind of like if you were making a click sound like that. So up, you don't have to make the click sound. You can just pretend like you're doing the first part of that. Up. And then think about pulling it back a little bit. So it goes tip there, flat part there, back a little bit. And if you do that a little bit, pay attention to what's going on down the line. You feel anything activate or change a little bit when you do this with your tongue? Practice a little bit. You guys feel other things going on? It's very subtle. But if you look like anatomy trains, there is research to support this that your muscles aren't isolated. Like, here's the thing, here's the boundary between your tongue and the neck muscles, and here's the boundary between your neck muscles and your diaphragm. There's no actual boundary there. They're all kind of connected. And there's a line of fascia tissues that go from your tongue all the way down. So if you pull on the tongue, you're going to pull up on a lot of stuff in the front of your body. Maybe you even feel like your deep core muscles kick on, all the way down. And so it's a simple thing to kind of reset a lot of stuff that might be kind of we're going to pull the tongue and it's like, oh, now I'm better aligned all the way down. So give it a try. Should feel a tiny bit of some deep core muscles kicking on. Should feel like, oh, it subtly kind of lifted up my head, that kind of thing. Good? I know it's weird. Give it a try though. We can combine this repositioning of the tongue with breathing, but breathing in a particular way. You might be like, of course I'm breathing. I'd be passing out if I wasn't breathing. Yeah, fair enough. Like I said, your body's going to do what it needs to do such that you don't pass out. But doesn't mean that it's the most efficient, the kind of best, most optimal way of breathing. It's just something that keeps you alive. So we can kind of jack into that, and it does a lot for your mood, for your nervous system, other stuff, as well as releasing these tight muscles. So think about, we're going to go back to, just trying to do what we can to align the posture, make sure that you're not just kind of in a seated position that is offset. So just make sure that you're seated. You feel, if you're seated in a chair, your feet are flat. You feel the bones at the bottom of your pelvis making contact with the surface of your chair or the floor. You're not glancing off the back. Stack your vertebrae one on top of each other. Make sure your eyes are at the horizon. Make sure that you're not doing crazy stuff with your shoulders. But one other thing I want to mention is a lot of times, and I did this, you get the advice, this suggestion that, oh, you just pull your shoulders back. If you're hunching, just pull your shoulders back. But do you guys feel how that adds muscle tension? So you're trying to relieve muscle tension by adding more muscle tension. So if you do that, you're pinned down here in the front and you're squeezing as hard as you can in the back. So now you're tight in the back and the front. So then you're pancaked. So, just kind of gently reset, but don't grab on as hard as humanly possible. Does that make sense? And think about, again, we're gonna breathe, but we're not gonna breathe like, is very intensely. This is all just kind of easy. Don't add any muscle tension to all this. Or, I did chin tucks for the longest time. And I still have a hard time not doing that because I trained myself to do that because I was told a lot of people, a lot of physical therapists actually do these chin tucks. I feel, I think you guys can see, like, you see all this strain I'm having through my neck when I chin tuck. And does this look like it's aligned here? Kind of not really, right? So, and I practiced that for forever. And I have to catch myself because I'm like, I trained myself to do that when I don't think. Now, looking back, it's actually optimal. It's probably better than way far forward, sure, but optimal. It's adding all this muscle tension and it's just unnatural, right? You guys see that? So, anyway, just a side tangent of don't add a huge amount of muscle tension when we're doing this. Just enough to kind of turn things on, but you don't want to, that kind of thing. Cool? Okay. So, we're going to sit, feel the bones at the bottom of your pelvis so you're not slouching, right? We're going to straighten things up just gently, just to set things on top of. If your posture is aligned, there shouldn't be a huge amount of muscling through. It should just balance there. So that's what we're going for. So just balanced. Make sure that, your head is up. We'll do the tongue thing first. So your, tip of the tongue, flat part of your tongue, pull it back a little bit. Okay, now we're going to breathe through your nose. Gently, easy, quietly, silently. Easy. Maybe a count of 4. Your tongue can be at the roof of your mouth. Then let's open the mouth slightly, and we're going to sigh the air out. Just easy, like air escaping a balloon. Hopefully, at the tail end of that exhale, you feel your side abs kick on. Little bit. That's the goal. So we're just going to breathe in. Tongue can be at the roof of the mouth. Easy, sigh the air out. Anybody who's done some sort of singing, there's a way to control your breath for singing to make sure nothing is super duper tight. Same kind of thing, or even in yoga with that idea of saying the hum. If you hum, if you make a noise, it does some good to release tension. It's along those lines. So we're just gonna sigh. It's not, you could probably do this like in your cube and nobody would look at you like, what are you doing? You're in a cube, maybe people would look, but the idea is just sigh. It's a little bit of a vocalization to help relieve some of the stress. And tune into your belly. That's going to help align everything is the idea. So it would be super quick. You just kind of practice doing the tongue thing 5, maybe 10 times, depending on how long you hold each pulling back rep. Then you do 5, maybe 10 breaths right into it. Then we can do a little bit of a stretch, but I want to make it more something you can do at your desk, super quick, and it's more about stacking and aligning than the traditional stretches, which in a lot of ways that's good, but my suggestion would be make sure you're aligned first because you'll get a lot more out of the exercises, the stretching, all the traditional stuff if you do this first. And you could do that at your desk, but you could definitely do these, the tongue, the breathing business. Just slide it in there without adding, I gotta go to the gym, I gotta change my clothes, I gotta, it doesn't add any extra time. These are things you're gonna kind of do anyway. So chances of getting it done are pretty good in that respect. Super quick. So let's try this. If you are seated at a desk or a table, we can, I'm just put my chair in a little bit. I'll show you something that you can do. And if you're not, then we can do something else. Let me know. The idea is you're gonna sit with good posture, your feet are flat, you feel the bones at the bottom of your pelvis. You're gonna do all the things we just did. We're gonna add to it. So thinking, stack everything, your tongue's in a good spot, you're breathing, all the things. Now, you can take your arms. The idea is we're gonna try to kind of, you know, one time I was visiting my aunt and I parked behind her driveway, went inside. There was a knock at the door. The neighbor came over. He said, I'm really sorry. I wasn't paying attention, didn't see your car there. And I kind of hit the bumper. And I was like, ugh. So, but, I didn't deal with it right away. I let it sit. And then all of a sudden, I go out there a couple days later and the dent in the bumper had popped out. I don't know if it was because of the heat or what, but I was like, okay, cool. That's what I think of when I think of this. I'm thinking of this dent kind of popping out. It's just popping out. There's not a lot of pulling, there's not a lot of muscling through. It's just going to kind of open up. So, if that helps you to think about this during this exercise, great. But we're going to put hands on the surface, your desk, your table. So just set your hands down, put your elbows on the surface. I don't know if I can show you guys, but this is my desk. I'm going to put my elbows down. You can put your palms down like this. So if you've got a surface, you can join me. You can also just do this when you're back at your desk. We can do another exercise. You guys are so good. You're like, I've got my workout area. I didn't, I was thinking people would not want to be that that into the doing the workout on a Saturday morning. But we can definitely do a couple of things that way too. But let's do this one because this is really good to do if you're sitting at your desk for a lot. So you're gonna put your hands down. Think about, when you inhale, same thing we did, tongue, inhaling all the things. As you exhale, think about a little bit of pressure either through kind of your wrist, all the way through the inside of your elbow. Tiny bit of pushing down, like an intensity of a 1. But as you do that, think about what is happening like at the top of your ribcage. Hopefully, the goal is that it's going to feel like that's a little bit lifted, but you're not lifting it. It's just kind of popping up because you're kind of equal opposite. As you're kind of having this pressure down, think about, like we talked about with all the kind of misalignments, that a lot of times you get something like this or something like this. But in both cases, this low back is pushed really far forward. And that's kind of causing all this, it's associated with all this up here being out of alignment. So we're going to access realigning all this by getting this better aligned. And it can just kind of fall into place. That's the idea. So think about these lowest ribs. We're going to inhale. As we exhale, think of somebody grabbing the lowest ribs and just gently encouraging them to come backwards. The goal is nothing's going on through your head, your shoulders, and this all just stays. And your lowest ribs just come back an inch or two. If you're doing that, you should feel your front kind of kicking on. These deep core muscles kind of kick on to make that happen. All right, I know it's very subtle. Main thing is don't get these ribs going back by having your head come even further forward, okay? So head stays, don't get shorter. All we're gonna do is exhale and pull these lowest ribs back. You should feel like, now my shoulders kind of have space to come away from my ears. I feel like this is kind of more open. Got a little kind of subtle ab exercise, core exercise. Makes it a little bit easier to breathe, probably too. Are we good, guys? Questions on that? Good. So, quick recap of the things we had talked about. We talked about how it's super duper common to have your head coming too far forward. It's got a name, tech neck. Now, we talked about how it's a problem. This can lead to a lot of things like disc issues. You get that kind of pain going down your shoulders. You get that kind of tingling numbness. You can have a lot of stuff that goes on through the shoulders and down. I was getting numbness in my index finger, and they're like, "That's because of your neck." And I was like, "Oh, that's great." But it did go away once I kind of was able to get my alignment, my posture better. It can even affect your mood if you're going around kind of you can have brain fog because you're not breathing super efficiently, and it can affect how you're working out. I know a lot of people, women particularly, want to do lift heavy, to do some rows. You know what I mean, rows, guys? Kind of where you grab the weight and you work your back, right? But a lot of times this is so collapsed and the angles are such that you get this kind of thing. You see how my shoulders are coming up and over. And all I feel, this is how I used to do rows. So no judgment if this is you, because I totally understand. Like, I do a lot of rows, and really what gets tired is my neck. I don't really feel too much in my back. I don't know. I mean, I do the rows. I don't get what the deal is. But that's because my body didn't have the ability to kind of pull it down like that and squeeze below the armpit into the shoulder blade area. It only could go kind of up and over like this. So now if you want to do kind of more strength-based workouts and you really want to feel your back working, not just your neck, or you want to do crunches or ab exercises and all you feel is your neck, and that's because when we do the head forward, shoulders back, you see how it kind of, it's called gripping. It makes your upper abs hold on for dear life and they take over the show. Like, there's kind of no turning that off. And if you're doing things on the floor, I'll show you what that looks like. Oh, there we go. So if you have this head forward posture business going on, you see how it's kind of pulling my head up? And then it makes it super hard to feel any of these other ab muscles going. So, you know, it's hard. It just, you're like mechanically at a disadvantage to get those side abs or low abs going. So, when you try to work those, doing your ab or core exercises, pretty much all you get is this upper ab business going on because it just can't turn off because it's stuck pulling. Yeah, I have a mentor who calls it the rectus damn near killed us syndrome. That the kind of six-pack muscles try to take over the show. But this will be a first step to, releasing the tension in your neck and also setting you up for more success in your ab or core exercises. Okay, guys. Well, that was all I had. Like on the menu, on the plan for today was to go through these pretty simple, accessible exercises that most people can do. You don't need to Lululemon up. You don't need to go to the gym. You just take a couple minutes from your day that you're going to be sitting anyway and do these resets. Again, exercises might be an overstatement of what these things are. I mean, intensity wise, there's a lot of mind, body, nervous system energy that you're going to use to really get the most out of it. So I'm not going to say they're easy, but simple. Yeah. Questions? Anybody want me to kind of look your posture? Anything, any feedback? I'm happy to do that. Well, what you guys are thinking of, just offer this. As a thank you for joining me today, or anybody who watches the replay. I appreciate your time watching. I want to offer you what I'm going to call a visual posture assessment. It's just super quick, maybe 15 minutes, where we get on a Zoom. We talk about issues going on particular to you. Like everybody's different. You have your unique issues to deal with, and we can just kind of look at your posture. We can check it. Is your ear? You're like, I don't know if my ear's too far forward. I'm not a posture expert. Okay, we can jump on a. It's quick. Just kind of look on the Zoom and see. Oh, you know what? You see that? Yeah. Or we could even look at. Again, they're all kind of connected. So a lot of times you get the pelvis involved, even feet are involved with this. It can even, so all the things we could just kind of do a quick little check just to, you're like, I don't know if I have anterior pelvic tilt. I don't know if I have sway back. We can talk about all of that because they all kind of fit together. Technique, head forward posture, anterior pelvic tilt, sway back. Do I have any of that? We could definitely talk about it and give you some general guidance about, okay, these are the kinds of things you want to do because of this and that. So free little quick call. Let me know if you guys are interested. I also have a guide. Marianne was looking at it, helping me get some feedback on this guide that I've created that goes through all of this. You can read about it. You can refer back to it if you're like, I don't remember all the details of the next thing. It's all written out. You can check it out. So let me know if you want that ebook. Definitely get that to you or anybody who's watching the replay. Let me know. Other questions?
I'll definitely get in touch with you about an assessment.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, this was great. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank
Hey,
you.
Cynthia, very
Yeah.
nicely done.
Things, I
Yeah.
mean, I did schedule about 45 minutes. If you guys have other questions, like you guys are so good. You're like ready on the floor to do the exercises. Any questions about that? We could definitely jump into other things too. Let me know. Anybody have questions about any other thing?
I just want to say thank you very much. It's nice to have these reminders. These small changes can make a difference, right? In your
Yeah,
day. Create more
absolutely.
mindfulness around posture. That's great.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard it called posture hygiene. Like, you don't want to brush your teeth. It's not the most fun thing ever, but you do it because you want to keep your teeth. Same kind of thing with some of these exercises, resets, drills, whatever you want to call them. It's kind of posture hygiene. It's not the most amazing thing to do. It's not like, yeah, I got a PR in breathing. It's not the kind of thing that it's exciting to do, but you do it because you don't want to have the issues in your neck. You don't want to have, you know, you don't want to look like a hunchback, the hunchback in Notre Dame when you're like 60, that kind of thing. All right, guys. Any last minute questions, comments, suggestions, anything? I will send you a link where you can make your visual posture assessment. Um, um, you can set it up. We'll set up a time to chat, an appointment for that, and a link to get that ebook. I'll send that to you guys. It's 3 people.
Thank
I can
you.
definitely contact you all.
Good.
Or anybody
Thank
who's
you.
watching.
And thanks,
Let me
thanks
know.
everyone for being part of this.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great holiday weekend if you celebrate. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Thanks so
Thank
much, guys.
you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Find this stop recording.